You're watching a recap from Investor XP, the show that covers investing for gamers. Check out the video description for details. It is Tuesday, June 20th. We got a great show for you today. All this week we're following up from E3 and going over the stocks of those gaming companies that were presenting at E3. So we got a couple of follow-ups with those. EA we're going to talk about today, and indie games. As well as we've got a couple of stories about taxes and long shot investing. So that's what we got coming up live if you're watching live. Each of those videos is going to be a recap today. So if you're watching one of the recaps, those are the other things that we're going to be covering. So be sure to check those out when you get a minute. Indie games. We love to follow indie games on the show. One, because I think it's great to follow the stories of these people that are developing something in their basement. They make it, or they become part of a larger studio. A lot of them are really good creative games that they have, and they're kind of free to make the game that they want. So we always follow the indie games, and around E3, you get a lot of good indie game news. So I'm going to pull up over Game Informer had a list of the best indie games that they had at the show, and there's a couple of things I like to look at when going over the list of indie games is who they are as a possible investment, because the publishing company that they have, you might be able to invest in them versus the small company themselves. So who's their publisher, and then what platform they're developing on. What platform's out there the most for these indies? What's their preferred platform of choice? So let me close this ad here. A lot of them look pretty cool. Very good art style with them. So they got an Indivisible PC game. A lot of side scrollers, 2D side scrollers, PC, Mac. This one caught my eye here, Kingsway. This is such a cool concept for a game. The way that it plays with the old, kind of like an old operating system from about the 90s or so. You have your map and the monsters and stuff pop up there in little windows. I think it's really unique. That's definitely going to be one to look out for. It's going to be out on the PC. Knights and Bikes, PlayStation 4 and PC, Laser League, interesting shooter. So you have ones that are kind of throwback 2D games, and then you do have some really cool modern games that get thrown in there that have some pretty good graphics. Big push for Microsoft with their Windows 10 to make their games cross-platform. So you'll see some of them that are developed specifically for those two platforms there. Some of these that go real throwback, like Atari type graphics, not really into. They do make the most out of those with some unique art designs, but this guy looks like Bert and Ernie. 2D ones. There was one that looked like the old Mickey Mouse cartoon. I don't know if they made their list here, but really a lot of cool indie games that were popping up there. Check out the article. I'll put it in the description of the recap video. So the question is, how do you play indie games as an investment, as a stock investment? And there's a couple of ways you can do that. So one of the best ways, and my favorite way to play it, is looking at Game Trust, which is part of GameStop. Investing in GameStop because they develop for quite a few indie developers. Insomniac, Frozen Byte, which Frozen Byte is Has Been Earned Heroes and the Nine Parchments that's coming out. Ready at Dawn, Tequila Works, which is Rhyme, Playful, they just added recently, I believe, to Game Trust. They have some neat, colorful games that they're coming out with. So, very interesting if you look at the different portfolio of games that they have. But so look at if you're looking at some of the indie games, see if they're published by Game Trust. If they are, and you think they're a really good game, a lot of hype behind them, GameStop could be a way to profit off of that investment. GameStop, we should be getting our dividends from them today, and that'll make for investments this week. Other investments, Overly Lear, they've been flat. Their guidance was pretty flat for the year. I expect it to be flat for the year, but the thing with GameStop is the dividend that they pay, and they've got plenty of cash to keep paying it. So 7% yield on the dividend. Hold them, get some money. Outlook's flat for the year. Beyond that, I believe they'll take off with the toys and stuff like that. A lot of people are contrary to that. If you don't like it, if you don't like GameStop and you think it's too risky, stay away. There's plenty of other things to invest in, certainly. PlayNet crossover. Can you help me vote Mortal Kombat and Freedom Planet crossover? I'm not sure what you're asking, but sure, I will look into it. So yeah, GameStop. Look at their Game Trust games if you want an indie development. The other way, like I said, if you look at what they're developing for, a lot of them are PCs. Once upon a time, the ultimate gaming device was Alienware. And you could simply just invest in Dell because they own Alienware. And that would be a good play to get, PC devices for gamers as an investment. Dell has gone private. They took the company private again, so you can't invest in Dell. So what are some of the other options out there? You have to kind of get creative if you're looking at them. Razer devices, a lot of people, big awards, a lot of good reviews on what they have. And one of the ways you can invest in them, if you dig down and see who's actually backing them, it's actually one of their biggest investors was Intel Capital. And I'll have the link in the description of the video. You could take a look at. They have a ton of companies that they're investing in and growing out there. Take a look at that. So, long story short, the route to help some of the indie developers and things like that, it could be through Intel of all people. So they are a pretty decent stock, 3% dividend yield, a lot of good cash flow on hand if you're looking at them. $4 billion as a matter of fact. So they have cash, debt, and cash flow together all kind of balance out nicely. So Intel, who would have thought, would be a road to indie, supporting the indies and investing them, making some money off them. But they are. So those are my two stocks that I would go with. Looking at the different indie games to develop, and GameStop's my favorite one for there, but Intel's a good choice too. Let me know what you thought of some of the indie games that came out around E3, and what your thoughts are of potential investment through GameStop or Intel as a way to play those games. Be interested to hear your thoughts on that. I'm going to wrap it up today. So put your comments in the video below. Love to hear your feedback. You can contact the show behind me. is the info. We're live Monday through Friday. So let me know. Feedback, thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already so you get the latest investing news for gamers first. Happy with the growth of the channel. I hope to continue to growing it with your support. So very pleased with that. Happy. Keep it up. Love the support. Love the feedback. Let me know your thoughts on some stocks. So we'll see you tomorrow.